And our mission for you, the listener, is to explore a truly legendary group from this quest. Group 114, why legendary? Well, because it features an absolutely iconic lineup. 4 albums, all from the Beatles.
Wow. Okay. Which ones?
We're talking Abbey Road, Help, Beatles for Sale, and A Hard Day's Night. So join us as we explore these massive albums through the unique lens of Greenstrarox's personal album quest, a lens completely unburdened by, well, history. And when we say unburdened lens, we really need to talk about what Greenstrarox calls their startling confession, because honestly, it changes everything for this quest. Get this. They hadn't actually heard any full Beatles albums before starting this. None.
Seriously, no Beatles albums?
Not the full albums, no. I mean, for someone like me who kind of grew up hearing them everywhere, the idea of coming to them totally fresh, it's almost impossible to imagine.
It's incredibly rare these days, isn't it? And that's exactly why this perspective is so valuable. Most of us, we've absorbed the Beatles through, like, cultural osmosis, parents' music, films, ads, radio.
Yeah, just everywhere.
Our brains sort of have this Beatles equals great file pre-installed, right?
Right.
So to strip all that away, to hear, say, Yesterday or Come Together like it's brand new, wow, it just cuts through decades of baggage. It allows for a purely musical, purely emotional reaction. It really makes you wonder how much of our love for classics is genuinely ours versus, just inherited.
That's such a great point. And it makes Greenstrarox's initial reaction really telling. They said they were genuinely impressed with the material produced here, especially considering the age of these 4 albums.
Yeah.
And they made a real point of not just going with the flow, not just thinking, oh, it's the Beatles, it must be amazing.
Right.
Instead, they emphasized that their own opinion, the fresh one, was, quote, the one that counts the most, which is really the whole spirit of this personal quest. So, okay, after listening with these totally fresh ears, going on this pure discovery journey, what was the final verdict? Greenstrarox actually asked the question in the blog post. But when you listen to the albums from start to finish, is it that great?
And the answer?
A definitive, resounding, all caps, yes.
Wow. Just. Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful coming from that unbiased viewpoint, isn't it? It really validates the enduring power of what the Beatles created. And Greenstrarox didn't hold back on the descriptions either. They used words like, let me see, groundbreaking, beautifully composed, catchy, elegant, masterful, forward-thinking, well-produced, and just so good.
Those are some strong adjectives.
They are. And what's interesting is how specific they are. They're not just vague praise. Like groundbreaking, hearing that fresh suggests an originality that just leaps out. Even now, masterful points to undeniable skill. Forward-thinking.
Yeah.
That means parts of it still sound modern, right? It's like an unfiltered affirmation of their genius.
It really is incredible. And that final thought they had on the overall quality kind of gives you chills. They said, you wonder if anyone since has managed to get close.
That really says something.
It just highlights the incredibly high bar those albums set. Even for someone hearing them 60 years later for the first time, it's a testament to their legacy, really.
Absolutely. The sheer difficulty of matching that level of innovation, that melodic power.
Okay, so they were clearly blown away overall. But how did Greenstrarox differentiate between these 4 masterpieces in the quest? They did say they found them all equally good, which must have made ranking them incredibly hard, but they did pick out distinct vibes for each.
Right, which is fascinating in itself when the overall quality is so high.
So let's start with Help. Greenstrarox made a pretty bold claim here, saying Help is better produced than some albums produced post-millennium. That's quite something for 1965.
It really is a compelling observation, especially, given the tech back then. When they say better produced, they're probably reacting to the clarity, the sonic balance, the arrangements George Martin brought.
George Martin, of course.
Yeah. Multi-tracking was still pretty new, but they used it so effectively. You get those lush vocals, clear instrument separation. Think about the sound on Ticket to Ride, which Greenstrarox mentions as beautiful music, that crispness. And, the strings on Yesterday, that was completely revolutionary for a pop group then. It had this elegance, this sophistication that honestly still sounds fantastic today.
So it's not just nostalgia talking. It's a genuine sonic quality that holds up.
Exactly. It speaks to a kind of timelessness in their approach, even that early on.
Okay, so from the energy and surprisingly modern production of Help, Greenstrarox then moved to Beatles for Sale. And here they found something maybe a bit grittier, describing it as more rock and roll than Help. What's that telling us?
Well, Beatles for Sale is a really fascinating snapshot in time, isn't it? Greenstocks noticed, and I think this is spot on, that you can really hear the transcension from 50s-style rock to modern 60s-style pop.
Ah, like catching them mid-change.
Exactly. You've got more cover songs on this one than the albums right before it. Tracks by Chuck Berry, Carl Perkins, real raw American rock and roll energy from their early days.
Right, their roots showing through.
But then, mixed right in, you have their own stuff, like 8 Days a Week or I'll Follow the Sun. And those songs are clearly pointing towards that more complex, melodic pop future we know so well. For someone hearing it fresh, that mix the roots and the new growth would be really striking without knowing what came later, you know?
Yeah, totally. Experiencing that evolution directly, without preconceptions. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. It captures that moment perfectly, looking back and leaping forward simultaneously.
Then came A Hard Day's Night. How did that one land? Greenstocks called it an impressively polished album full of infectious pop numbers. You can almost feel the energy in that description. Infectious.
Yeah, and that word polished is really key, I think. It captures how they'd already mastered that tight, perfect pop song format so early on. Remember, every single track on A Hard Day's Night is a Lennon-McCartney original. No covers.
Oh, right. That's significant.
It just showcases their incredible songwriting skill, their knack for those instant, unforgettable hooks. The harmonies are perfect, arrangements are sharp, the energy just pops. For fresh ears, it must sound like this just unstoppable wave of pure pop brilliance, really direct, super catchy, perfectly crafted.
Like a band hitting its stride, really confident in that early sound.
Totally. It's like pure pop genius, Lay Your Bare, before the later experiments kicked in, just pure craft and charm.
All right, and that brings us to the last one in the group, the giant, Abbey Road. Greenstocks described this one simply as classy and opens with the genre-defining come together. Just classy.
Classy is a good word for Abbey Road. And calling come together genre-defining, especially from a fresh listen, is really insightful.
Why genre-defining from that perspective, do you think?
Well, think about hearing it cold. It doesn't sound like anything else, really.
Yeah.
That slinky, swampy groove. You've got Paul's iconic bass line, Ringo's unmistakable drum shuffle, John's kind of mystical, distorted vocal.
Yeah, it's instantly recognizable.
It blends blues, rock, a sort of psychedelic feel in a way that felt completely new. It pushed boundaries for what a mainstream rock song could be. Even if you didn't know the context, that sound, that sophistication, it just screams classy and innovative. It sets the whole mood for Abbey Road, leading into that incredible medley on side 2.
So a different kind of innovation than the early pop stuff. More about sophisticated blending, maybe? A culmination.
Precisely. It sounds like a band absolutely at their peak, creatively pushing things right up to the very end.
So, okay. 4 incredible but distinct albums. After soaking all that in, how did Greenstocks actually rank them for Group 114? They admitted it was super tough, so they couldn't quite separate them because, well, they're all equally good.
And that just says it all, doesn't it? It really underscores how subjective music is, even when you try to be objective, like in this quest. I mean, how do you rank art when it's all hitting such a high standard? It becomes less about better and more about, I don't know, personal connection, which can change day to day.
Especially without decades of hearing which ones are supposed to be the best, right?
Exactly. That fresh perspective makes the ranking challenge even more about pure aesthetic gut feeling.
And yet, for the album quest to work, a decision had to be made. The show must go on. So, Greenstocks' final ranking for Group 114 was number 1, Help.
Interesting. Okay.
Number 2, A Hard Day's Night.
Okay.
Number 3, Abbey Road. And number 4, Beatles for Sale.
Fascinating order. But the most revealing part, I think the real takeaway for us, is that little disclaimer Greenstocks added right after the ranking.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
They wrote, "This week anyway."
Right. This week anyway.
That perfectly captures it, doesn't it? Even in this structured quest for the best, taste is fluid. It shifts. It reminds you that the journey itself, the listening, the thinking, forming your own opinion, that's maybe more important than the final ranking. It's a living relationship with the music.
What an amazing journey to follow along with. So that wraps up our exploration of Group 114 in Greenstocks' really unique album quest. It's been fascinating to experience these iconic Beatles albums through such genuinely fresh ears. It definitely makes you rethink music you thought you knew backwards and forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. We hope this look at the quest has given you a good shortcut to understanding it. You know, the sheer quality Greenstocks found, those specific details about each album that stood out, and just how subjective ranking truly great art can be.
Definitely.